The NRA's Wayne LaPierre talking about mental health and guns. Joining me now, two men who have a lot to say on both those issues. Former Congressman Patrick Kennedy and Christopher Kennedy Lawford, author of Recover to Live, conversation with 100 of the world's top treatment experts. Welcome to you both.
Thanks.
Two Kennedys. I mean, I can't think of two better people to ask about this debate. And your reaction, I guess, immediately to the interview I had with Alex Jones. What did you feel watching?
It was disheartening, I think. I think just to see the anger there. And also, I mean, he kept talking about the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment, Thomas Jefferson, who wrote the Second Amendment, said that it should be revisited every 20 years to see if it's still appropriate. I mean, this was something that was written a long time ago. And he probably doesn't even know what the real intent of the Second Amendment was. So for him to quote this and just the absolute vitriol that is there is really disheartening.
I was just disturbed. Disturbed as a human being that this is what our civil discourse has come to. What makes our country so great is that we're about passing power peacefully, not violently. And in my last year as a member of Congress, I'd say perhaps half of the members of Congress had to live wearing bulletproof vests and have armed guards.
Really?
During the aftermath of Obamacare, when the president was being held in effigy, and these kinds of threatening comments of people like the man you just had on were blocking members of Congress from being able to go and vote. You may recall of that.
Yeah.
And people like John Lewis were being called epithets, racial epithets. And this wasn't just isolated. This was happening both in our nation's capital and around the country. We've had a devolving of the civil discourse in our country, whether it's guns or it's this issue of mental health or anything that's a hot button issue where we can't talk to one another. And that, I think, is the more disruptive, disturbing thing that, I felt threatened when he was threatening you. And the fact that we're not thinking about one another in those ways, he was assaulting your human dignity.